So Metroid Prime 4 has now been out for about 6 weeks, which has given us all plenty of time to give our opinions on it, for us to all understand how we feel about it. If you guys want to know how I feel in depth, check out some of my extensive reviews in the last several videos. But with that being said, what we're looking at today isn't necessarily any big overview of the game itself, but we're more just looking at what are the patches that Metroid Prime 4 needs if the game was to get an update. I'm not talking about any sort of massive changes here, but just some slight alterations that could really help improve the experience overall. This is basically just an opinion piece, so let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with these patch requests, and let me know what you would like to see patched up in Metroid Prime 4 if it was to get an update. First off, it's a really minor request, but I do think it's something that's very necessary. When you're going into the pause menu, and if you're looking at your map, if you request to speak with Mackenzie and you're looking to get some sort of hint, then he'll give it to you, assuming that comms are available at that time. But when comms are not available, it'll give you a notification that they're not available. And then it'll seriously make you wait 5 or 6 seconds while you just sit there and can't hit any buttons, can't back out of the screen, and just have to look at this message for an extended period of time for no reason whatsoever. I actually altered the button mapping and I switched the missile button from the right bumper to the X button, simply because I wanted the controller to feel more like the experience I had on the GameCube. But because of this swap, I kept accidentally hitting this comms button even when I didn't want to talk to Mackenzie, which, let's be honest, I basically never wanted to talk to him. But then every time I made that mistake, I had to sit through this 5 or 6 second notification. So yeah, this would be a really easy fix, and I don't see any reason why it should be like this. Now this one is probably one of my biggest requests, but one of the biggest mistakes that I believe Metroid Prime 4 made was making the music hidden behind a paywall. Now you could make the argument that Soul Valley's atmospheric sounds was the way the developers always intended it, and the way they think it gave the best overall experience. Personally, I think it just added to the feeling of emptiness, and it really could have benefited from having some music to go along with it for all of us non-Amiibo players. So I would love to see a patch that addresses that, and let us listen to the Viola theme or the Volt Forge theme whenever we'd like while driving around Soul Valley. My third patch request is allow us to completely disable the hint system, aka Miles Mackenzie. Even the original Metroid Prime trilogy allowed you to turn off the hints if you wanted to, and those hints were way less invasive and didn't hurt the immersion as much as Miles does while he's constantly chiming in, spoon-feeding you information. Honestly, I think a lot of the hostility from some of us longtime Metroid fans would have been a lot more tempered if they had just allowed us to turn this guy off whenever we wanted. The fourth patch that I'd like to see is actually a missile buff. One of the more frustrating things that I noticed in Metroid Prime 4 is the fact that your power/psychic beam is simply the best weapon in almost every situation. In Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3, the missiles were not only valuable, but in many cases, they were essential. At minimum, they did an equal amount of damage to the power beam in the same amount of time. But in Metroid Prime 4, there are very few instances where it's actually beneficial to use your missiles. It can stun enemies every once in a while, but most of the time, the best strategy is to simply spam the A button as fast as humanly possible. And if you don't believe me, just look at all of the combat in the world record speedruns, and you'll see that that is almost always the best method. My fifth and final patch update request would be to reduce the amount of green crystals necessary in order to get Samus's third suit. I'm not gonna lie, this didn't really bother me all that much the first time playing through this game, because I was curious to explore Soul Valley a little bit, and I was consistently collecting the green crystals as I went through this adventure. But once you've already played through the game once before, and you've thoroughly explored everything Soul Valley has to offer, then that's when the green crystal scavenger hunt really starts to become a pain in the neck. Because at that point, it's just completely tedious and very, very boring. I kinda hate the fact that we have to do this in the first place, but at the very least, it would certainly help if we could drop the amount of green crystals necessary in order to proceed. So what do you guys think? What are some quality of life updates that Metroid Prime 4 could benefit from? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more Metroid content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.